Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to compare the Liforme yoga mat against the Manduka yoga mats. That's both the Manduka PRO and GRP mats to help you decide which yoga mat might be best for you. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Jaime at Enlightened. On this channel, you'll get yoga and meditation practices and tools just like today's, and other times you'll get nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle tips. So hit that like button and consider subscribing if you want more like this. Don't worry, this channel is not turning into a yoga mat review channel. I just really believe that when you have a solid yoga mat, your practice can become so much more focused and distraction-free. And isn't that what this channel is all about? Feeding your mind, body, soul so you can stress less yet accomplish more. Now, in full disclosure, I got the Liforme mat at a discount and the Manduka GRP Light to Adapt mats for free. But it wasn't for the purposes of this video. I'm actually working with Manduka on a completely different project. I bought the Manduka Pro and Pro Light mats with my own money and have had them for probably well over a decade now. So nobody's paying me to say this, these are my honest opinions. I'll put all the product links in the description below, including any discount codes I have. I make a small commission on any qualifying purchase you make at no extra cost to you. So do use my product links as it simply allows me to continue making these hopefully helpful videos for you. I won't be going into the details of the Manduka Pro and GRP mats because if you want an in-depth review of the Manduka Pro and Pro Light mats, watch this previous video I made. And if you want the in-depth review of the Manduka GRP Adapt and GRP Light mats, watch this previous video I made. After making those two videos, I got loads of questions on how these Manduka mats compare against the Liforme and even the Lululemon mats. So today I'll do a little comparison. Before we get into that, it might help to also let you know that I've been practicing yoga for more than 20 years now and teaching since 2008. So I've tried and tested lots of different mats across different yoga studios around the world. I currently teach in a hot yoga studio with classes ranging from more dynamic vinyasa core power to yin and yoga nidra, more quiet, reflective, and restorative styles, all of which require different things from your yoga mat. Let's briefly touch on some of the Liforme pros and cons before we get into the comparisons with the Mandukas. If you're here purely for the comparison and don't want to hear about the Liforme pros and cons, use the timestamps in the description below to jump ahead to the comparison. So the Liforme pros. Number one, it's grippy and dense, and I love the grip of the Liforme. Solid, grippy, it's got a great feel to it, and the Liforme mat is firm, so you really feel supported in any standing and balancing poses without any wobbling. Number two, the Liforme absorbs moisture, very similar to the GRP mats, so you don't need a yoga mat towel, and you still won't slip and slide even when you get sweaty in a hot room. Number three, I like the alignment lines it's got. Some might find this distracting, but if you're just starting out, it might be helpful to know where to place your hands and feet in various poses from down dog to warrior. Number four, it comes with its own mat bag. I mean, you could argue that it also comes at a premium price. At the time of making this video, the Liforme is 135 euros, compared with the most expensive Manduka Pro mat at 110 euros. So that's a 25 euro price difference. So I guess that saves you from spending more money on a carry bag or mat strap when you get the Liforme. Number five, it's nice and compact when rolled up, which makes it handy for traveling and putting it in a suitcase. Number six, it's biodegradable and apparently breaks down within 1 to 5 years in landfill. Some would call this a pro, but I kind of feel like that's a con, because you not only keep filling up the landfills, you have to keep buying a yoga mat every 1 to 5 years. So some of the other cons are that it needs airing out between sessions. Because of its highly absorbent nature, you really need to air it out, especially if you want to enhance this mat's lifespan. Number two, because the materials used are eco-friendly and biodegradable in 1 to 5 years, it's not long-lasting. Even though I've only had the regular yoga mat for only a month, I've actually had the smaller mat pad for well over a year. This little mat pad probably needs its own review, and if you want me to review the mat pad, let me know in the comments below. It's marketed as something you can use for extra support under the knees, but I actually use it as a handstand mat, for the days when I do handstand practice at the gym and don't want to lug a huge yoga mat around with me. It's basically a mini-me version of the regular yoga mat. So I've had this little guy for well over a year now, and you can see along the edges how some of the top surface is already starting to bubble up. Okay, this next one might just be a weird con that's specific only to me, but if you've seen my other yoga mat reviews, you'll know that hygiene and me are a thing. I like folding my mat in half before I roll it up, simply so that the underside of the mat, where the floor's been, doesn't touch the top part of the mat where I practice on. Now, this doesn't really work with the Liforme, as you need to roll it up with the top side on the outside according to the instructions. I tried folding the Liforme in half before rolling it, and I've already made a little bubbling happen in the middle here. So I won't be doing that again. So unfortunately, where the icky floor has been is going to be touching the top side of the mat. And if you're doing this at the end of a sweaty practice when the mat's wet, touching where the floor's been, that's kind of gross. Like I said, maybe that's just me and I'm totally overthinking this, but this is a con for me. Next, it is kind of heavy at about 2.5 kilograms. That's still lighter than the Manduka Pro mat, but it is heavier than the Pro Light and all the other GRP mats. Okay, now that we've got the Liforme pros and cons out of the way, make sure you also watch my in-depth reviews on the Manduka Pro and GRP series pros and cons, so you know all the ins and outs of all these mats. Now we can really get into comparing the Liforme versus the Manduka. And hey, if you're getting value out of this video so far, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more yoga and meditation videos to help you stress less, yet accomplish more. And do let me know in the comments below what you're thinking of the Liforme so far. So when you ask Liforme or Manduka, you actually need to be more specific. At the time of making this video, Liforme only makes one type of yoga mat. Even if the colors and patterns might be different, the materials used are the same. It's the same natural rubber base with eco-polyurethane top surface. Manduka, on the other hand, makes a variety of mats from different materials for different purposes. So, when you ask Liforme or Manduka, you need to also specify if it's the Manduka Pro, GRP, or Eco series of mats. You can really geek out on this stuff like I have. Since the Manduka Pro mats are the OG, original gangster Manduka mats, that's usually the mat people refer to when making a comparison. However, that's kind of like comparing apples to oranges because they're quite different mats. Go watch my previous review of the Pro and Pro Light mats. But very briefly, the Pro mats don't absorb moisture. So if you sweat a lot or practice hot yoga, you will slip and slide if you don't also have a yoga mat towel to absorb all that sweat. It might be more fiddly with a towel, but it's also more hygienic. Where the Liforme and Manduka Pro mats are similar are in their density. They both feel really stable without any wobbling on a squishy surface when it comes to standing and balancing poses. The Liforme is thinner than both the Pro and Pro Light mats, so it's not as comfy when it comes to yin or more restorative styles of yoga, or even when you place your knees on the floor. I guess that's why they made the mini-me yoga pad version too. You could also flip the edges of your mat over for more support when you need it, but that's a bit more fiddly too. So when comparing the Liforme with the Manduka, it's actually a more fair comparison with the GRP series, since these were made for hot yoga and absorb moisture too. This is more like comparing apples to apples. The GRP Adapt is slightly thicker with more bounce to it, so you'll find a bit more comfort and cushioning in yin or restorative yoga styles when compared to the Liforme. But it's noisy. It squeaks. I talk a lot about it in my GRP series review. The Adapt isn't my favorite mat. I talk about why in that review, so the Liforme is hands down going to be my choice over the Adapt. However, when it comes to the GRP Lite, this is where the competition heats up. While the GRP Lite is grippy even when it's not wet, the Liforme is just slightly grippier. It's also slightly longer. It's the same length as the Pro mat, so if you are taller, that could be a consideration. I really like both the GRP Lite and the Liforme, and it's a hard decision. If you were to put a gun to my head, I might like the Liforme just a little bit more. the grip, the feel, it feels solid and premium, but considering the Mini-Me mat pad is already bubbling at the surface edges after only 1 year, and the yoga mat surface is creased already from me folding it in half just once, I'm not so sure about spending such a huge amount of money on a mat that's only gonna last like what? 1 to 5 years? At the time of making this video, the GRP Lite is 90 euros compared to the Liforme's cheapest version at 135 euros. Granted, it comes with a bag at that price. It's one of those decisions of what's more important to you? Grip, durability, more landfill, more biodegradable? Personally, I like buying one good thing that's going to last me a long time. I also like my yoga mat to be low maintenance and easy to clean. There's just something about the Liforme and GRP mats absorbing sweat and germs that makes me feel a little bit uneasy. So I still like the good old Pro or Pro Lite mats with a mat towel over them for a hot and sweaty practice. The maintenance is really just low. Oh, I've also practiced on the Lululemon mat and it feels really similar to the Liforme, but they scuff really easily and don't stand the test of time, and that's important to me. So while I haven't had in-depth experience with those mats, my first impressions of the Lulu mats were enough for me to say, no thank you. Ready to make that purchase? Check out all the product links including discount codes in the description below. Check out my other reviews of the Manduka PRO and GRP series mats here. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and smash like, subscribe, and see you in the next one.